In this week's Leadership Insight, I want to talk about what I call the forbidden phrase. It's a phrase that if you've been a part of an organization, leading a team in some capacity, you probably heard this phrase at some point, and if you're like me, it drives you a little bit crazy. And this phrase that I'm referring to goes something like this: our people won't. Now, a variation of that phrase could be our team can't do it, it's just not happening, we don't have the resources. Basically, it comes down to just some sort of excuse. This forbidden phrase of our people won't. Now, when we run into something like that, it's very frustrating, especially if we're leading a team in the middle of a project trying to accomplish a goal or task at hand. I want to present to you 5 ways that you could possibly change the culture, shift the mindset when you start to begin to hear from the people on your team phrases like, we just can't, or this won't happen. So the first one is, I want you to start back at the why and give people an idea of why what you care about matters. And this goes directly back to vision. You got to spell out the vision again. You got to lay out the why of what you guys are actually going for. And the thing is, we get into the boat of we think we know as the leader and everybody else just follows along with it. We've got to come back and give an explanation of why what we do matters and why we should care about it. Don't go after the excuse and try to combat that. Just bring everybody on your team back to the why, and you'll see some shifts taking place. Another thing that you can do, number 2 here, tell them again and again and again. You see, as leaders, we know what the task is. We know what the why is. We know what the outcome should be. It takes us repeating that multiple times, because just as we start to get tired of hearing it ourselves, people are just then starting to understand. It takes multiple times communicating it. And I would encourage you, actually come up with some creative ways to reiterate what you're saying time and time again. Because if we're just repeating the same thing and not getting any results, people may not receive it a certain way that we're trying to express it. So communicate over and over again, but try to find some ways to change it up a little bit. And then thirdly, celebrate any progress that you're moving forward. I mean, if it's just something little, but it accomplishes something that moves us towards the vision and goal, let's celebrate it. And even better, do that in public if you can. The 4th thing that we should do here is tell stories of someone who's done it right. Find someone on your team or organization that has done a really good job, done it well, done it right, and tell it in the form of a story. You see, when we hear something of a story, we turn something on in our mind and we click and we want to listen even more. We're not just hearing this rhetoric over and over again, but we're hearing it in the form of a story and we're captivated by it. And that will perhaps change the mindset, shift some thinking, help people to understand it a little bit better. And then lastly, number 5 here, very important as a leader, set the standard and do more than you're expecting of everybody else to do. Remember, you as a leader going after the goal, accomplishing the vision at hand, it's so important that we set the standard. People will follow whatever we set forward. And it doesn't come down just to words. We have to put it into action. Put those things that we're setting for other people to do, put it on our plate to go do, and do it at a higher level, and watch everybody rise up to where you've set the standard. So those 5 things that you can do, I'd encourage you to move forward, because like I said at the beginning, it can be very frustrating when you hear that phrase. It could be a little bit down. It can cause you to want to quit even if you heard it over and over again. But I encourage you, put these 5 things to practice. Watch the culture of your organization shift. Watch the workflow go into a positive direction. We as leaders, we change the outcome. That is our responsibility, and we as leaders can make it happen.